Today I'm going to be tearing apart a Turbo 400 for a drag racing transmission build. Modulator valve is all boned up. Pull the governor out, that won't be getting used. This one's getting a Transbrake. valve body won't be getting used either. It's already had some sort of a shift kit in it. Yummy. Got the check balls out of it. Do not believe any of them will be getting used with the new valve body. Along with the intermediate servo. Through bolt into the center support on these. If it's 3/8, it's 12 point, you gotta have a thin wall socket to get it out. Or a modified thin wall socket. Keep the oil off the rubber off my Milwaukee tools because they don't hold up very good with oil. The rubber starts to swell and they fall apart. That makes me sort of grouchy. Pump, forward clutch, direct clutch, band, intermediate band I should say. intermediate clutch. Thing actually looks pretty good so far. Snap ring's a pain in the rear end, even when you're not trying to stay out of the way of the camera. The snap ring has a taper to the top of it. Taper always goes up. Center support. Spare parts. Not really. Basically, that setup right there is your whole Planetary gear train. That's all there is to it, really. Not much to it on Turbo 400 or any 3-speed, really. Another snap ring, little thin fellow that goes underneath the intermediate or the center support. Low band in reverse. Basically a finishing nail that holds the shifter rod in. You can't get out unless the pump's out. Or if you're special, you can't get it out at all. Times you gotta file the manual shaft to get it out. I guess I really shouldn't say a lot of times, I should say pretty much all the time. I don't know that I ever remember not having to file one. Where the internal linkage and the rooster comb bolt on the inside, it kind of mushrooms it over when you tighten it. Take a ton of material off, just make it so it doesn't destroy the case when you pop it through. So, shouldn't have to beat it out or anything. Should go easy. pretty well covers that end of it. We'll pop the direct clutch apart here. Doesn't look too bad. A little bit worn. You have to compress the springs to get the apply piston out. Actually, if you look at it, should never put it together with the snap ring right there. It should be right there. Centrifugal force will actually open this snap ring up and pop this retainer off. Leaving springs out on a performance build's a bad idea too, because centrifugal force will also apply that clutch. Fluid behind the piston thing gets spinning real fast. It actually push out on the piston and centrifugally apply the piston. Cause this clutch to get burnt up. That's not any good. Lip seal's coming apart in two pieces. It's all supposed to be one unit. Same thing there. I think we figured out why the tranny came apart. Or came out to come apart. Not sure if that's just a poor job of installing by whoever rebuilt it last time, or if that's just really cheap parts. Kind of leaning towards really cheap parts. This is the intermediate sprag. Basically just a roller clutch. It will be getting a sprag. A sprag is much more heavy duty than a roller clutch. They both do the same thing. But drag racing application, heavy duty is kind of the name of the game. Little thrust washers on each side of the forward clutch hub. it's basically the same deal. Compress the spring, get the piston out. Curious to see if those lip seals are in as poor condition as the other ones. They don't look bad at all. The center seal on the forward clutch is just to slow down the engagement so it doesn't engage harshly when you put it in gear. The center seal on the direct clutch is to differentiate between third and reverse. Reverse uses one section, third gear uses the other section. It won't be like that again when we're done. Well, that's odd. Cast sealing ring on one and a Teflon on the other. Any high performance build, you throw the cast rings in the garbage and put Teflon on everything. This will get one-piece seal rings out of a 4L80 rather than a scarf cut. They both work, but I prefer the one-piece. They're just nicer. A little tougher to deal with, but I think they work better in the long run. Now we're taking the pump apart. Not much to it. 5 bolts. Inspect this for wear. This actually looks really nice. A lot of times it'll wear grooves in there. You'll actually be able to feel a lip right here, and there's not. I can take the pumps apart and resurface them and make them all nice and pretty again. Salvage them. You look at the gears for wear. These actually look like they were replaced not very long ago. Got a coating on them that actually still looks really good. A lot of times you'll be able to see a bunch of wear in here on the crescent from this gear rubbing on it. Some guys will take these apart and rebuild them and never put a pump bushing in it. No pump bushing in it, it ends up pushing that gear into that crescent. Carves the crescent all out. Then this is a paperweight. But it looks pretty good. These springs are pretty light. No real need to compress anything here to pop it apart. And there's only ever 3 springs in the intermediate. Doesn't move, so there's no centrifugal apply anywhere. Doesn't need to release fast for any reason. That's interesting as well. 1 Teflon, 3 cast. Whoever built it must have been running out of Teflon or running out of cast, one of the two. With a high performance build, these cast iron rings will actually wear into the ring grooves and start cutting them apart. Teflon won't do that. So anytime you're running anything with any higher RPM, you want to get rid of those cast iron rings. I prefer to get rid of them on any of them. I don't like having to replace hard parts, and those cast iron rings just make it so you have to. Sun gear. Front and rear Planetary share the same sun gear. It's a silencer ring, goes in the back here. I honestly don't know that it does anything at all. But GM thought it was necessary, so they put them in there. Selective thrust washer goes in the back of the case. If you have too much end play, there's different thicknesses. Low roller clutch, or sprag. It's actually a roller clutch. A lot of people call them sprags. Planetaries, you want to make sure there's no rock in the pinions, not a bunch of side-to-side play. There's little thrust washers on either side of them. They wear out. You can replace them. I have them. I don't like replacing them. It's not fun.